Hello and welcome to my channel. It is Monday, which means that it is time for me to take a look at your love life with a love life tarot reading. I'm going to jump right in before saying too much more. I'm going to show you the spread that I designed for the reading today so that you'll have an idea of what it is that I'm going to be taking a look at. I'm going to put a graphic up here on the screen and walk you through. I'm going to be pulling 7 cards today, and each of those cards is going to have a forced location within a spread, meaning that it represents a certain thing that I want to get some insight into utilizing the tarot cards. And then I'll also use my own intuition and communication coming through from your spirit guides, my spirit guides, to give me additional insight beyond what the card meaning represents. So the first card that we'll be taking a look at is the energy of the divine masculine. We'll pull a second card that will help us to take a look at the divine feminine. Then we'll take a look at the traits existing within this connection, both the healthy and the toxic traits that might be existing right now. We'll pull a card, the fifth card that I'm referring to as the connection card. And this is basically going to give me insight into what makes the two people who are in this relationship, in this connection, what actually makes them be invested in the connection. Next, we'll take a look at the blessing of this connection, and that can mean anything, guys. That can mean that this is the love of your life. That can mean that this is helping you to clear some karma or to reap the rewards of some of the good karma from your past lives. This could be a soul contract. This could be some form of a divine partnership, a divine connection. We'll see what the card is that ends up in that position. And then the last card that we're going to pull is going to be guidance and advice specific to this connection, whatever spirit wishes to deliver there in terms of the card that shows up. That'll give us some additional insight to take a look at. So if that sounds interesting to you, if those are things that you wish to get additional insight and information on regarding the connection that you find yourself in, then hang out with me. My readings are relatively short, because a lot of what I tend to do beyond the cards is really listen to my intuition and just channel the messages that are wanting to come through. So you don't need a lot of time commitment to do this reading with me. I do just want to say here at the beginning, I have a regular schedule here on the channel, and there will be playlists that are created that are specific to each day. Monday is going to be specific to your love life. Tuesdays specific to work life. Wednesdays, I will do a pick a card style reading. Thursdays here will always be spirit messages that want to come through. And then on Fridays, I do a special reading, which is a week ahead, taking a look at the week that's approaching you. And that is actually the only style of reading that I do that is specific to signs. And so for my Friday readings, those will be time-stamped by the signs, and it basically gives you a chance to get a sneak peek on the week that's coming ahead for you. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please take a minute to subscribe. If you like any of the videos that you watch on the channel, please also take a moment to give them a thumbs up. That just helps the channel to grow. It helps other people find the messages that need to be delivered for them. And with all that being said, what I would like to do here at the very beginning is take a couple of moments, probably 60 seconds or less. I just want to help us connect as energetically as possible so that you can get the full benefit of the reading. So I'm going to do a short, brief guided meditation for you. There'll be some music that plays softly in the background, and I'll give you some prompts as that music begins, just so you can begin the process of tuning in. So what I'd like for you to do first is just get yourself super comfy, take a moment, really settle in. If you feel any tension that's going on in your body, anywhere at all, focus on that, let it go. Focus on the tension and let it go. If you feel anything that feels like you need to shift or move around, go ahead and do that. Take as much time as you need. Also, as you're getting yourself super comfortable, please take a moment to focus on your breathing. I'm not going to give you any specific pattern that you need to breathe in, but I just want you to be focused on your breathing, focused on the breath coming in and out of your body. Really pay close attention to that. And then I want you to think about your love life as it exists currently. Now, lots of people are going to watch this, so this is why this is very important. I need you to just tune in. What are the things about your love life that you're really happy about? What are the things in your love life that you have questions about? What are the aspects of your love life that maybe you wish could shift or change? be really engaged with it. Be really honest with yourself. Don't try to sugarcoat anything. Allow your true feelings to come to the surface. Really allow yourself to connect to those feelings and emotions. And then just take a moment to set the intention that this reading will bring forth communication and messages and guidance for you. Know that this is a general reading. Not everything will resonate, but know that you will know what is for you and you will know what is to be left for someone else, so that everyone who listens can get the full benefit of the reading. Now, if you're comfortable, if you found yourself in a nice comfy position, if you're really set energetically in terms of what it is that you're hoping to achieve, what it is that you're hoping to hear, the messages that you're hoping to receive, and the guidance that you're requesting, then you can go ahead. I'll continue forward in just a moment. If you need some additional time, you can pause this, take as much time as you need, and then you can hit play. Okay, guys, so I did pre-shuffle this deck before sitting down to record. I don't do any shuffling on camera because it takes up too much time. But what I do, just for the people who feel like they want to know for sure that the cards are being picked at random, is I do blind cuts. And that's what I'm going to do here. Again, I'm going to pick 7 cards. I'm just going to go through and pick the first card. Again, this is the card that's associated with the Divine Masculine. We'll pull a second card. This is going to be for our Divine Feminine energy. We're going to pull 2 cards next. The first is going to be the healthy traits of this relationship. I'm going to shuffle just a little bit here. Mixing up this card right here wants to come out. So this is going to be the toxic traits of the relationship. We're going to pull a 5th card. This is the connection card. Our 6th card coming out is going to be the blessing of this connection. And then the final card that we are going to pull, this is going to be the guidance and advice card. Okay, so we have our spread laid out here. I'm going to go through these one at a time in order and talk to you about the card itself, and then also tell you what I'm picking up intuitively in relationship to that card. And then if anything else pops up, if I feel like I need to clarify anything, if I feel like I need to get a little bit more insight, I do have the deck still within reach and I can pull an additional card if I need to. Most of the time I don't, to be honest with you. So let's take a look at the Divine Masculine. I do just want to say here, Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine, those energies exist within everyone. We all have both inside of us. Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine, those terms, they are not necessarily connected to whatever your current gender is. Our souls do not have gender. So you may very well be a female who has Divine Masculine as the predominant aspect of your energy. You might be male and be much more in touch with the Divine Feminine aspect of your own energy. However you identify works here. And I just wanted to clarify that for people because I know sometimes people get a little bit confused about that. So you will probably know which is you, which is the other person that you're curious about. If you don't know that, lots of information online, specifically on YouTube, about how to determine masculine, divine feminine energies. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look here. Divine Masculine, the card that we have coming out here is the Star card. It's coming out reversed. And I can tell you immediately what I'm feeling here is a lot of insecurity coming through for the Divine Masculine energy. I also feel like there's something that immediately came forward. The Divine Masculine does not feel heard. And so how I'm going to interpret that is either they're making an attempt to express themselves and they don't feel that they are actually being heard or understood. That's one possible way of interpreting that. The other is that you're actually not the Divine Feminine might actually not be in communication currently with the Divine Masculine, but there's this aspect of feeling ignored, feeling unheard that's coming through from this card as well. One thing that I want to talk about here is there's some pretty heavy energy here in terms of the Divine Masculine. And I'm gonna go ahead and label this as like a depression. It feels very heavy. It feels very dark. There's a lot of sadness that's here, and there's that sadness is stemming from feeling like the situation itself is hopeless, or that they can't find hope to hold on to. Really, really heavy energy for the divine masculine. Um, I don't. I'm not going to say that the divine masculine here is to a point of having given up, because I don't sense that, because there's too much emotion. There's too much emotional energy that's coming through from this card. So I don't quite think that we're there yet. But what I do feel is that um, there's a lot of there's a lot of thought going on in the mind of the divine masculine that I'm picking up on, in terms of not quite knowing what they need to do, feeling like everything that they've tried has not quite worked out. Again, this feeling of just being very misunderstood, not being heard, not being able to fully express what it is that they want to say. And it almost feels like, no matter what they say or what they've tried to say, it's almost made the situation worse. It's very discouraged, depressed energy coming through in terms of the divine masculine. Now, let's see what's going on with the divine feminine in response to this, or in terms of what's going on with them. So we have the Page of Wands showing up here. The Page of Wands, it's upright, and it's interesting because, the Page of Wands for me, always the first thought that I have when I see that card kind of pop out is that um, the energy about this is really about being willing to take a chance, being willing to take on something new, try something new, really being engaged and active and trying to um, see what can happen. Um, it's interesting, I'll say here with this Page of Wands coming out upright, I don't necessarily know for sure that with, earlier I said, like, it could just be like the divine masculine doesn't know if they don't feel heard, or it could be that they're actually being ignored. There's no communication. But this page showing up here upright, I do feel like the divine feminine is trying to communicate, trying to have that dialogue. But it's not being received. It's not being that communication is not happening in a healthy way. Um, it's very interesting what I'm picking up intuitively from this divine feminine energy, though, because um, the divine feminine is really trying to think through new ways of like it's new ways of everything. I was definitely new ways of communicating, but there's this energy and this push behind trying new and different ways, and it feels like everything. Okay, it feels like whatever whatever philosophy you've had about your relationship, you're allowing yourself to think differently about it. And I want to elaborate on that. Some of you might have felt very connected to like notions of twin flames, and you might be in a situation where you're looking at this relationship and this connection, and you're allowing yourself to think about it differently, and you're allowing yourself to look at it and say, well, what if it's not a twin flame? What if this isn't my twin? What if this is just a karmic connection? What if this is someone who I have some sort of soul contract with? The divine feminine is allowing thoughts to come in that release them from patterns that they feel they've been locked into. This Page of Wands, in terms of like um, the energy here is around, you traditionally, right? This card, the energy around it is around some sort of activity, or like a new project, or taking on some sort of new creative approach to something, taking a chance on something new. There's lots of newness around that card in general. And I don't feel like it is about trying to start a new relationship. I feel like it's just opening yourself up to new ways of thinking and new ways of approaching things, and new techniques or new angles to try to work on this. Now, what I will say about these two cards so far, and we're going to take a look at what's going on here, healthy and toxic. Those are the next cards that we're going to look at. What I'll say is that often we can get in patterns in relationships where It's referred to in lots of different ways. The most common that you probably hear is runner chaser, where one person gets freaked out and they flee, the other person runs after them, trying desperately to get them to, listen or to come back. There's different attachment styles, whether you have an anxious or an avoidant, whether you have a healthy attachment style. There's lots of ways of talking about it, but I feel that dynamic going on here, and I feel like it's probably been a back and forth connection for a while. This doesn't feel like something that's brand new. This feels like something that has some length to it. And during that time, things have been very like hot and cold, on and off, back and forth. Okay, that's the energy that I'm picking up on here. So we're going to take a look first at the healthy aspects of this connection. What's going on here that's healthy? We have the strength card. Now the strength card is showing up reversed. Okay, so we have to do two things here, and I'm as a reader, I like to clarify for people because sometimes people know just enough about tarot that they get themselves confused. Now, I've built a spread. I showed this to you at the very beginning. Okay, so this card, the strength card, when it's reversed, it has a specific meaning. Okay, so when the strength card shows up reversed, this is really about places where we don't have a lot of confidence, we don't have a lot of self-control. We might be dealing with our ego a lot, really dealing with issues of pride. There might be a lot of fear at play. There might be a tendency to sabotage ourselves or to sabotage good things that are happening to us. That's the meaning of that card when it's reversed. But what I'm looking at here is what's the healthy aspect of this relationship. And because this card landed in the healthy traits, it requires a little bit of finagling, okay? Because we have the meaning of the card, but it's healthy. So what this means is this connection's helping you to deal and heal and process and understand all of the things that I mentioned strength reversed represents. So in this connection, by being a part of this connection, you're really starting to be in a place where you can understand more about your ego, to understand more about you're being challenged to take a look at why do you have confidence issues? Why do you have self-control issues? Why do you have trust issues? Why might you allow fear or worry to derail things that are going well for you? This is what the purpose of this connection is in terms of the healthy aspect of it. And I do feel like that's shown here because, like I said, neither of these people feel like they're ready to walk away and give up. That's not the energy that's showing up here. Both of these people feel like they've tried different things. They keep trying different approaches with each other. Now the question that we'll get to, right, and these cards on the bottom is, is how long are you going to do that without really seeing some progress and really seeing some shifts and changes, right? So let's take a look and see what's going on here that might not be that great. What are the toxic aspects of this? And what we have here is the 10 of coins showing up reversed. Okay, so the 10 of coins when it's reversed is really at its core, it's about something that is not that stable. It's something that you can't really count on that much. There's not a stability here. There's lots of conflict. There's lots of butting heads that I'm picking up on. And the other thing that the energy that's coming through from this, I have to tell you, is loneliness. There's a lot of energy about just feeling very alone, feeling like you're in this on your own. And anytime you feel lonely within a relationship or you feel like it's all on you in a relationship, that's a really hard place to be. And that more so than anything, I think for that card is what's dominating energetically for me. For some of you listening, this is coming through. For some of you, this could be a situation where you're in something that's long distance. So you really are kind of separate from each other. Some of you might be in a period of separation where you're not actually physically around each other. Again, they're saying the communication might be on and off or spotty. But there's this sense of loneliness, of really feeling isolated, uh, not only from the other person, but just it seems like one of the toxic things within this relationship is that uh, it's quite draining energetically, and so you don't really have a lot of time or a lot of energy left after the amount of time that you've spent dealing with things. So it's hard, I think, for the people in this connection to really focus on what they want and to be optimistic and hopeful about it, because there's lots of energy here that feels a little bit depressed. Now, the divine feminine, I have to say this, the rest of these cards up here, other than the divine feminine, they are really, I'm going to say, like, pessimistic energy. And the divine feminine feels like, what else can I do? What else can I try? And just be really mindful of that, guys. You can stick in something that's not going to work for a long time. You could potentially forever. Okay, so really listen to what's being delivered in these next couple of cards and take those things to heart. If this has resonated with you so far, really be mindful of what the next cards are going to talk about. Okay, so this fifth card, this is the connection card, and like I mentioned at the beginning, this is really about what pulls these two people together. What is causing these two people to want to remain in this connection and to explore it more. We have the devil coming out here reversed. And again, this is one of those very interesting cards for me because as I mentioned with the strength reversed, right? This is what's keeping these two people going. This is what's really holding them together in this connection. And with the devil card coming out reversed, um, that's a really powerful card. The devil card reversed is about healing more so than anything else, and it's about healing deep stuff. It's about dealing with stuff that we have not wanted to deal with, that we have not wanted to process, things that we've repressed, even that we don't even remember. Um, it's about dealing with the parts of ourselves that we don't necessarily want to deal with, or that we don't even really necessarily want to admit exist. So I can tell you from this card being here in the connection card space that there's been a lot of button pushing. There's been a lot of mirroring in terms of, like, you're showing each other the things that are traumatized and wounded inside of each other, and it probably feels very raw. But at the end of it, there's lots of potential for both of these people to really have a lot of healing if they're willing to do the work, if they're willing to really focus on themselves and not get so distracted with, like, the heaviness of the relationship or the fighting or the arguments. Okay, so this makes a lot of sense in terms of what's been going on up here. Now, what's the blessing of this connection? What's the true blessing of this? We have the Hermit card coming out, and this is just amplifying this even more, guys, because with the Hermit card, that card is always going to be representative of gaining wisdom. It's about gaining clarity. It's very, very often associated with someone who is on a spiritual journey, someone who's really focusing on their own personal growth. The blessing of this connection, whether this connection ends up ultimately working out or not, this is something that's been brought in. The connection between these two people exists to really force them to grow and evolve and to better understand themselves and to better understand how they work in relationships, the things that maybe they bring into relationships in terms of their own trauma, their own fears, and how those things impact the relationship. Because both people in a relationship are always going to bring things in. Both people in a relationship are always going to their energy coming in is going to impact the relationship in different ways, and often people aren't aware of that, or they don't want to admit that. And so this is something where in this connection, you're completely unable to ignore what's going on here. If you're still listening and this has been resonating with you and you've been nodding your head yes the whole time, then you understand it, that you can't ignore what this is. This is really something where, regardless of what label you put on it, and what I mean by that is, like, if I was doing a personal reading and I really, like, poked deeper into this, and I could say this is karmic, this is a soulmate, this is a twin flame, this is someone who you have a soul contract with, this whatever type of label ends up being put on it, regardless of what it is, so much spiritual growth, so much healing, so much unpacking of trauma, because you can't avoid dealing with that stuff in this connection. It's completely impossible to avoid it. Now, the last card coming out here, this is guidance and advice specific to this relationship. We have the Three of Cups, which is reversed. Okay. So So here's what I'm going to say about this, okay? Because I feel like the Three of Cups is usually mostly associated with our friendships and having a feeling of whether or not we have friends, whether or not we feel connected, whether or not we feel like we have a support structure in place. And with the card being reversed, I'm going to say, and based on the other things that were revealed here, I mentioned this feeling of isolation and loneliness that was playing into it. Guys, you can't become so obsessed and so fixated and so wrapped up in a relationship or in a person that they become everything to you, that your whole world becomes them, and that you are preventing yourself from having connections with your family and your friends and actually being out there and living a life outside of the relationship. The advice and guidance that I feel is coming through is that it's really important, especially when you're dealing with this, right? When you're in a relationship and a connection with someone where your trauma is being triggered, your repressed emotions and your repressed memories are being brought to the surface, you're really being put in a place where you're having to deal with your own shadow, you're potentially clearing karma. That's really heavy stuff. And so both of these people, both the divine masculine and the divine feminine, they need time away from that relationship. They need people that they can count on. They need friends that they can talk to and people that they can hang out with. And they need to be out of that relationship as much as they're in the relationship. Because when they're in it, it's very depleting energetically. And I think I mentioned that at the beginning too, in terms of the energy that I'm feeling. It's very depleting. So you have to figure out ways to get more energy to be able to, fill your tank back up. And spending time with people who, understand this, so that you have people that you can talk to and be honest about it with. That's important. Having people that you don't ever talk to about your relationship, and that those, sometimes we have like our friends that we talk to about our lives, and then we have like our fun people that we just go and do things with. And some of those people might mix, if we did a Venn diagram of two circles, some of those people would be in the middle. But it's important that you allow yourself to have things that are outside of this relationship, because again, I'm feeling a little bit of kind of fixation and obsessive energy in trying to figure this out. And this is not something that you're going to figure out quickly. This isn't something that's going to solve itself in a week. This is going to take some time investment if both people really want to make this work, and it requires both people doing a lot of heavy lifting in terms of their spiritual work. And so it can't be a 24/7 obsession, right? You have to allow space for other people to exist, other people to support you, and to feel like you're really having time away from the relationship, out of the relationship. And I hope that makes sense. So let me know what you thought about this. I love reading comments. I reply to the comments as much as I can. If you feel like someone else might be interested in my readings or in the channel, please take a moment to share your favorite video with them, or to just send the channel to them so they can check things out. Again, I do have a Monday through Friday schedule. Every week, those videos will be posted on the individual days, and on my channel, there is a playlist associated with each day so that you can go and explore and use your own intuition to pick other readings that you feel might have answers for you. All of my readings are timeless. There's no expiration date on them. So whenever you find one of my readings, know that that is Spirit trying to come through to communicate with you. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I will see you guys with the next reading. And again, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. I'm really working to grow a community here. Okay.